What happened to the Zygerrian Empire? In episode 5 of the Bad Batch, our heroes are forced to do mercenary work in exchange for Fennec Shan's identity. This brings them directly into conflict with a group of Zygerrian slavers. Tasked with rescuing the baby rancor Moochi, the plan goes horribly wrong and the entire team except for Omega gets captured. As Omega attempts to break the rest of the team out, we hear in the background the monologue of the lead Zygerrian slaver. As the Zygerrian is talking, he briefly mentions returning to Kadavo now that the Republic is gone. He then talks about rebuilding now that the Empire has allowed slavery. But before we can find out more, a Zygerrian guard catches Omega. So the question now is what happened on Kadavo and what happened to the Zygerrian Empire? To find out, we need to take a look at the Clone Wars 3-episode arc to understand what caused the fall of this once powerful empire. I'll first do a recap of the 3 episodes, so if you're already familiar, skip ahead to the more detailed answer. Use the timestamps down below as a guide. In the Clone Wars arc, we follow Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka as they investigate the sudden disappearance of Torgutan colonists on the planet Kyros. They then discover that these colonists have been kidnapped and forced into slavery by Zygerrian slavers. In the first episode, it's revealed that the Zygerrian Queen intends to use these colonists as an auction in order to revive the slavery traditions of the Zygerrian Empire. The 3 then venture forward to find and rescue the colonists. Upon landing on Zygerria, Anakin and Ahsoka infiltrate the Zygerrian Empire, managing to secure an audience with the Queen. Posing as a slaver, Anakin prevents the assassination of the Queen by a rebellious slave and offers Ahsoka as a replacement. The Zygerrian Queen, enchanted by Anakin, offers him a seat by her side in the upcoming slave auction. Simultaneously, Obi-Wan and Rex attempt to enter the slave pits. However, unable to find the colonists, Obi-Wan decides to help set free the Torguta governor of Kyros. But he is then interrupted and captured by guards, with Rex still managing to escape. During the slave auction, the Queen announces a special guest and introduces Obi-Wan Kenobi. She then orders Anakin to whip his fellow Jedi to prove his motivations. However, with the help of Ahsoka, R2-D2, and Rex, Anakin attempts to improvise and escape. This fails miserably and the whole party gets captured. The Queen then forces Anakin to be her personal slave and bodyguard in exchange for the lives of his friends. Ahsoka is then kept in the palace while Rex and Obi-Wan are transferred to a reprocessing center on Kadavo. The Queen then offers to free the rest of the group on the condition that Anakin joins her willingly, arguing that Anakin is after all already a slave to the Republic. Anakin eventually manages to break free and rescuing Ahsoka in the process. However, the Zygerrian Queen, attempting to persuade Dooku that she could force the Jedi to submit, is forced choked to death after disobeying the Sith Lord. Ahsoka and Anakin then race to the reprocessing center on Kadavo to set Obi-Wan and Rex free. In the process of doing so, Plo Koon arrives with reinforcements, destroying the facility entirely. The Jedis during the Clone Wars effectively ended the Zygerrian slave trade before it could be reborn. The destruction of the slave reprocessing center and the death of the Zygerrian Queen essentially prevented the beginnings of a new slave empire. However, while the Jedi may have stopped this rebirth during the Clone Wars era, the history between the Jedi and Zygerria goes a long way back. In the Clone Wars, we learned that the Zygerrian Empire is effectively built on top of slavery. However, before the Clone Wars, the Jedi arrived and forced the Zygerrians to end the slave trade. Following the Republic's decision to outlaw slavery, the Jedi embarked on an anti-slavery campaign in the Outer Rim. Targeting Zygerrians specifically, the Jedis were able to crush the Empire and liberate its slaves. As a result, the Zygerrian Empire fractured, forcing Zygerrians to retreat to their home world. The Republic and the Jedi ended their pursuit, believing the Zygerrians to be no longer a threat. However, the Zygerrians continued to dream of the restoration of their empire. They would then run major slaver organizations in the years in between, eventually allying themselves with the Separatists. So while we do see the Jedi fighting Zygerrian slavers during the Clone Wars, the Empire was already a shadow of its former self. In reality, the destruction of the Kadavo facility only prevented the resurgence of the Zygerrian slave trade. And as we see in the Bad Batch, the Zygerrians are essentially attempting to rebuild the slave trade now that the Republic is gone. With no Jedis there to essentially stop the Zygerrians, they can now rebuild the reprocessing facility in Kadavo and relaunch the Zygerrian Empire off the backs of slaves. Since the Empire is now supportive of slaves, it would be safe to say that the Zygerrians will be back in some shape or form. So that is what happened to the Zygerrian Empire and what the Zygerrian slaver was referring to in the Bad Batch. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed my content. I am the Lost Acolyte,
and I have spoken.